Yes, it's What a Boast, a celebration of Reeves and Mortimer. Please welcome your hosts for this podcast, MJ Price and Paula Wiseman.
Hello and welcome to Quite a Boast, a podcast dedicated to the work and genius of Vic Reeves and Bob Mortimer. My name is Matt Price, founder of the Reeves and Mortimer Depository of Curious Stuff Facebook group.
And I am Paula Wiseman, founder and creator of the Divine Comedians podcast.
If today's guest isn't classed as a national treasure already, then surely it's only a matter of time. He's been part of a number of era-defining comedies, from his work with Steve Coogan to the legendary Fast Show. Nice. His many successes as an actor have taken him from Cold Feet to Coronation Street. Great. And he has also played a variety of characters alongside Reeves and Mortimer, from a nocturnal Harry Seacombe to a very sweary chef. Really great. Please enter the Novelty Island paddock, John Thomson.
He's going to do you out of a job, John.
No,
Nice.
I should be doing impressions in front of
to the side.
Not in front of the guests, anyway.
I did automatically do a finger. Excuse the term.
Yeah, yes. It's mad having a one-word catchphrase, you know.
Yeah.
I think the shorter one, I don't know the record for the shortest. I think Lenny Henry, but he did elongate it. It's okay.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In letters, his was okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice. So I'm probably second on the list of the shortest world's catchphrases.
Yeah, there was a lot of O's involved in
Yeah.
Lenny's.
He even managed to release a single, didn't he, with that very same title back in the Tis Was
The
days.
big Rasta.
Yeah. Algernon Razzmatazz.
That's him. John.
Let's hope to have you here, John.
Yeah, it's lovely
Nice to be here.
John.
Yeah.
Absolutely love your work. So going back in time to start things off, what was your journey? How did you even get into the acting game stroke comedy?
If you want to go way back, it was school reports said if he could spend as much time on his subjects as entertaining his classmates, he could do anything he wanted. So just craved attention, basically, and then sometimes for the wrong, for the wrong reasons. So I was what's known as in the teaching terms as a low-level disruptor, which is just the worst thing for a teacher. But funny with it though, so I did get a lot of laughs, and I just kind of relished that. So that thing about do what you if you put as much effort into making people laugh, I just thought, well, I'll get through school and stick with what I know. And I did. Well, I went to drama school. Well, first of all, I did theatre studies at sixth form, and it was very nice. My sixth form was Runshaw College, and later I just went back. Actually, Steve Pemberton went there for their 50th anniversary. So I went to see them, and it was great. I did theatre studies there, came top of the class, got a few A-levels, and then went to Manchester Poly School of Theatre, which is in Didsbury, where I live now. And that was like an old theatre, the ABC studios that Granada owned. And it was like an amazing building. It's been knocked down, tragically. It was a listed building, but it's one of them backhander type things. It was a real shock that it went, Anyway, I went there and I did 3 years. I think it was a diploma in theatre. I did 3 years there, and that's where I met Steve. So I was a first year, Steve Coogan was a third year. Been doing a bit of stand-up in between. I used to write reviews with Steve Pemberton at Runshaw College. And what I kind of did was I took the sketch and kind of reformulated it into a bit of stand-up. So when I went to drama school, you had to get an equity card, and I did stand-up to get my equity card. I got
that been Bernard Wright on or before?
No, none developed it. I think Bernard came a bit later. So I was 87 to 90. Bernard came in about 89 with Steve, because Steve was doing Duncan. He was doing his characters. He had, Paul Carve was originally called Duncan Disorderly, which is such a great comedy name. But if we wanted to put, like when we did, Paul Carve Video Diaries, we couldn't do Duncan Disorderlies because it's just a comedy name,
Yeah, yeah.
We had to make him a real person. So he had a Duncan Disorderly, he had Duncan Thicket as well. And he had Ernest Moss, which was the kind of health and safety man, which is slightly based on Steve's late dad, Tony. And he's one I absolutely adore. But yeah, I mean, Steve started writing stuff together. We had very similar interests. We were obsessed with Roger Moore and the Persuaders, and kind of we had similar stories like putting horror makeup on and hiding, waiting for someone to find us. It'd be hours before anyone found us, and so we had quite a lot of common ground, Catholic families, and So we got on really well, and we wrote some excellent stuff. Took the show on tour, and then we went all over, you know. And it was pre, what's it called, PowerPoint. We had to have a Lexin and a pull down screen because it was a slideshow, you know. So we had to have a hatchback to fit that in, so we could fit all the gear in, the costumes and everything. But one great thing we did with those when me and Steve were writing was we had a great kind of organic way of working, especially with slides with Ernest. We both get into character because I was his son Robin, and we just find somewhere in Salford, like an abandoned industrial estate, and go stop the car, and our mate would take photos of us in character by the thing. And what we do is take stills and then write the jokes around the image.
Right.
Wow.
It
was brilliant way of work. It was a great way of working. You know, I really enjoyed that. And then we took it to Edinburgh in '92, and we won the Perrier. Me and Steve, we won the Perrier Award. I heard a few years down the line that John Shuttleworth lost it by a boat. I was a bit gutted, really, because I love John Shuttleworth.
Oh, Graham is so incredible, isn't he?
My kids, I do him to my children. And they go, "Who's that you're doing, Dad?" And I played them a bit, and they really like it. You know, especially with that song, "You can't go back to slavery never." So yeah, Graham went to our Manchester Poly School of Theatre as well. Yeah. So it's a real good breeding ground for top comedy. But he was Jilty John when he was still at drama school. When he used to get mobbed, he got mobbed. He used to get mobbed after work on the school steps of the Capitol building. Yeah. So that happened. But then when I left drama school, my first job was with Vic and Bob, and it was the Weekenders.
Oh, was that your first job?
Yeah, that was my first job at Granada. So I had done like regional telly, which was like the comedy festival, the Boddington's Beer Tent, but that only went out in Granada land.
Would that been with Caroline and Steve? Yeah,
and then like Henry and yeah. So I did cut my teeth on a lot of kind of stand-up and local regional stuff. Actually, I tell a lie, my first job out of drama school was Corrie. And I was at Zinker buying spare parts off Jim MacDonald, 2 Eps. And I knew I wasn't coming back because I was called Gary the Biker. I didn't have a surname. If you've got a surname, you've got a good chance of coming back, you know. But I was just simply Gary the Biker. Yeah. I was in 2 Eps. So to buy an oil pump, I went to see Liz in the Rovers. He went, "No, it's Neil's the new one." And I went, "Have you got an oil pump for a DT751X?" And it was like, I was so nervous. And then the second one, I chatted Mavis up and be at the bar. She went, "Wait till my Derek hits about you." And it was like, I'm going to steal Les Dennis's thunder. So,
he's not still doing it, has he?
Oh, do you remember? I remember it just bit of, on Shooting Stars. It was a really funny bit. And he goes, "All right, impression round." And the lights come on, and he went on Les, and he went, "Right, do an impression." He went, "Well, I don't really know." And it cut to Bob, Jim and Bob at Senna going, "Told you." It was so funny. He's lovely, Les. He's a friend. And he works so hard. He never stops doing theatre. Just on 12th night at Shakespeare North. Malvolio. He's just played Malvolio.
Now he does it all.
So were you always doing voices?
Well, I mean, Steve did.
Been natural to you?
Yeah, Steve was an impressionist. But if you're an impressionist, it's always fascinating to know there's another impressionist. There's not many of us,
Oh, yeah.
There aren't many who are any good. I mean, there's John Coleshaw, Alistair.
Lewis MacLeod.
Lewis,
lovely Lewis.
I mean, there's I started on Spitting Image with Steve. That's how I started. So but you got to earn your stripes. So I got Gazzo, which is just crying all the time, just crying. And I did because I sent a tape in, like a cassette tape, and you'll never guess who's on that tape. Rolf Harris and Jimmy Savile. Two of my best.
Different times, John.
My absolute best. Anyway. We
don't make a career on that. Yeah.
No, we move on. So, but I'm there with Nigel Kennedy, the Paul English.
Yeah.
Still a monster. Yeah. So monster tune Vivaldi. Yeah. So then they did a puppet, which was great. So I did the voice. So and then you move away up the right. So I did Bill Clinton too. So yeah, they can't have that kind of thing where, I'm from Arkansas. So I did Clinton, which was like, whoa, I'm the president, for a bit. But you have to really, because there's on ours, there was, there's a lot of actors are good impressionists, but you wouldn't know, Tony Hopkins does a great Tommy Cooper, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's quite a few. Some you see it on, there's clips from Graham Norton, and you see actors come on and they do really good, really, and some really terrible ones to their faces. Like Tom Hiddleston does it.
Tom Hiddleston, yeah.
Does it to Robin De Niro and he's there. And I'm like, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
So I'd be so scared. But I only really did the face anyway. So voices have always kind of come, but my politicians were quite hard on. You had to learn some of those on spitting image. I remember John Culshaw came in. He was only a young lad, and he don't get to do much. You know, you like do a potato in a Russian sketch or a talking door. I remember he was a tree, and he did it like Richard Wilson. I'm a tree, and I thought that's such a good impression. It's wasted, but he did it, and yeah, John's really good. He's like, Lister's really good. I mean, I've worked with all of them. You know, Rory. I'm sure there's a few. I don't know. It's a weird world, really. It's a little bit like Vents, isn't it? It's a kind of a magical. It's like a superpower.
Yeah.
But you don't get many youngsters coming through doing it, I don't think.
Not really, but I think it's because of the things a bit vanilla now. There's not really one thing I used to love when I was a kid was on telly. There were TV personalities, not celebrities, because they were on TV and they had a personality. This is very different now. You could be a celebrity without any personality whatsoever. You know, that's the problem. And if you haven't got a personality, how are you going to impersonate them? Do you know what I mean? Not really.
And I suppose you could do a voice and play it in a club, and there's a good chance half that audience have not ever heard that person speak because they don't watch the same TV or YouTube as you do.
Yeah, and when I went, who's going to see the Queen on Christmas Day then? And it brings the house down. Yeah. I mean, that is our demographic, though. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Some people, younger kids, will be like, who's that? Yeah. But it's hard trying to stay at, staying ahead of, being current. So my daughter's a huge Family Guy fan, So I said, okay, hey, Lois, what's going on here? So you've got to try and do a few that, what, the juice? What? Yes, Brian, you're looking very attractive tonight. Oh, come on, Stewie. So it's like, I've watched it so many times with my daughter, and she's a great Lois, Sophia. Sometimes we talk in character. But yeah, that's good to get new ones, Yeah. And cartoons are always great.
Well, how do you find voices? Some
just come. Some you have to work on them. Do you know what I mean?
Does someone say, can you do a certain person, and you kind of just listen and listen until you get
someone said, can you do
certain tones?
No, and then I thought, well,
yeah, sort of just like that, isn't it? It's just kind of just quite like a very, very, very shy Joe Pasquale.
I know Joe really well.
Joe talks like this normally. That's how Joe talks.
Oh, I love
it. Like, Johnny boy, how's it going? Yeah, not too bad. I've got help doing panto. But when he's on stage, he just turns it out. It's like
it's just like he goes up to 11 in the Pasquale dial,
But normally he's just like, hey, he talks.
Yeah.
Sit down. On the stage, he just look like that,
So yeah, it's funny because. The thing is, one of the things about impressions was variety was still very big when I was young. There's a lot of real characters in variety, like Tommy Cooper and Brucey, and there were so many people you could do. Do you know what I mean? But now, because the variety scene's dead, and there's no sitcoms, and that's the problem we've got now. Yeah. We've come out of a pandemic. We've got a war in Gaza, and we've got that. We've got Ukraine. We've got a cost of living crisis. What do we need? Comedy. Are we making any? No. It's just the maddest.
Makes no sense.
No sense whatsoever. And it's always money is the excuse. Yeah. It doesn't need to be. You can still be funny without money,
We're talking funny. Let's go back to the Weekenders. Well, they've got earliest jobs.
A mad project.
So did you know Vic and Bob before that? Did you met?
Look, a bit, yeah. I hadn't moved to Greenwich. Then I lived in Greenwich for about 10 years. I lived in southeast London actually, and got to know them up the Creek Club, Malcolm's Club, because they were regulars. So that, like we said in the Fast Show Live, it was like a melting pot of that. When I lived down there, there were so many people that were kind of lived in that area. So Squeeze, Jules Holland, Vic and Bob, Simon Day, myself, Malcolm, and it would all go down up the Creek Club usually on a Sunday night because it was my home spot night. It was like crazy, like a mad.
Yeah.
And it was a great time to be alive. It was a bit crazy, but that's I met them there, and then I met them at the festival as well. So before I did the Steve show, I went to the festival with Malcolm and Simon, And and Malcolm would always call the show, it's the Up the Creek show. So he got first billing in the program. So it was RGH. It's Up the Creek show. Genius. First thing you see. But we did it in a weird nightclub called Century 2000. It was like a discotheque, you know. But we went down all right. Simon did Tommy Cockles, I did Bernard. So that I was doing Bernard before I did the Steve thing, you know. And Vic and Bob were around doing their show, but they were like gods then, you know. They were right up there because of Big Night Out and everything. I think even Les was still around at that point. He was still in the show. But yeah, the Weekenders, it came. So I got a scene for it. I had to play a policeman, and I had to talk like, you know, old kind of, you know, eating comedy. What do you think you're doing? Yeah. I say, that's dreadful. And I could do the voice, and it was Sandy. Oh, it's a great director. He's got a great big mustache like that.
Sandy Johnson.
Sandy Johnson.
Yeah.
He was the director. And I went to see Sandy. I went, right, well, you do it. You do the job.
So you were Mike Wattham, isn't it?
And me and Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's Can't Buy Baby Boost, is he?
Yes.
Baby,
yeah.
You can't buy it. I used to love all those bits. You're wasting your time, all that. I used those little, very kind of a bit of a nod to Benny Hill, that strange looking boy. Man would come out of a barrel and go like, do you know him? You know what I mean? And there was the guy who played the harmonica and on Morecambe and Wise. They were very, you know, much a nod to those kind of sudden moments of, who's that? You know, I used to love all those bits. But yeah, we did it, and I had to do a stunt. So I had to jump off a bridge. They throw the bike in first, and then we followed. We never allow it now. And jump in the river.
Health and safety.
Then we did it in the, you know. And this woman went, don't go in there. She went, my dogs don't go in there. It's filthy. She went, it's full of pollution. And we were like, what? Oh, right, okay. Did the stunt, then got off, came up the bank, slipped on dog shit and sprayed my ankle. Yeah, after that to the stunt. Well, it was done then. So yeah, but it was like, it was great because it was such a mad story though about aliens or Queen. And I remember meeting Phil Oakey, and I was a huge Human League fan, and I was just a bit like blown away, you know, because he was in it. But
Paul's in it. Simon's in it. I mean, you're all in it.
Yeah, I remember Bob. When Paul plays that Welsh Kohlstreber, you've been drinking, have you? Well, it's like Bob actually. I think he nearly or did wet himself for that scene with Paul. Paul's so good at it, you know. Bob was absolutely gone, and Paul does it so well, you know. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it's a cast of thousands. Yeah, we had such a good fun on it, you know. And then that really did establish the fact that did establish a kind of a stronger friendship with Vic and Jim, Vic and Bob, you know.
So they when they moved to the BBC for The Smell of Reeves Mortimer, and you appeared a few times.
I remember being at Guard Shop, man, with the Boss Eye. I picked, you know, I did a kind of bit of a John Malkovich and kind of, but these are for Graham. I remember that. It's the Brahman once.
Brahman,
yeah.
You do a Roger Cook.
Yes, Roger Cook. I was in a big anorak and a grey wig. I remember that.
For those who remember Roger Cook, listeners.
The Cook Report, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There's a really heavy one where he exposed like the triad kind of something in Manchester, and it was like, don't mess.
Crossed the line there, Rog.
You did. Well, I live here, and you just know, you just stay away unless you want to cleave it next to your head. Yeah, Roger Cook. That's all coming back now.
And there's you and Mike Wattham again having fisticuffs in the studio, and I think you're both wearing like giant white Y-fronts or something.
Yes, I seem to remember something where I played a Victorian doctor and something about a cream horn.
Oh yeah,
remember that with a Gladstone bag, and it was something about would you partake of a cream horn? I went no. I was proper kind of like Dr. Griffin with a black moustache and little round glasses. I remember those two things: Victorian doctor and cream horns. It's just definite.
And for that scene, especially, they I guess it's the same with the Fast Show. They with the budgets at that time, they put on elaborate costumes and scenery and filming techniques, and it'll be something that's on screen for 20 seconds or something.
I know sketches are expensive.
Yeah.
No.
The thing.
I know it's just, you know, but it's just great getting, you know, being a spaceman, a caveman, and a Vegas show in a day. You know, when you're doing sketches, it's just such a good laugh, you know. But Smell of Reeves Mortimer, was that the one everyone remembers is MasterChef?
Yeah.
Was that?
Yeah.
It's the one that stays with everybody, doesn't it? With the forehead and the fingers.
It just makes no sense.
No, it's complete surrealism. But Jim is a surrealist, really, if you think
Yeah.
about it. Because his foundation's art in it, and Bob's his solicitor, isn't he? Well, it's up, but Jim's family's livestock farmers, aren't they? Pigs.
No, Jim worked
He was a pig farmer,
a
wasn't
pig farmer after
He was a
leaving
work-
school for a bit. Yeah.
Because I seen a brilliant old photo. I saw a documentary about Vic and Bob. And I say Vic because I know him as Jim.
Yeah, yeah.
Because Jim Moyes was head of the BBC, and that makes it even more complicated. This sums up Vic. There's a fantastic picture of him with a really good quiff, like Elvis one, but greased, with a leather jacket with studs on it. But on the back of the jacket, it spells Vaughan Williams. I've seen that. I thought that's genius. That fantastic.
Yeah.
Classical composer in on the leather. Vaughan Williams. I'm a big fan of Vaughan Williams.
Okay.
And Jim went, "Have you seen that photo?" And I went, "Yeah." He went, "Well, can you get it for me?" I went, "No, I don't know where it is." This was it's on a documentary. He went, I thought it was genius. He was really like, oh.
But they choose something that, again, a lot of sketch shows might do a MasterChef spoof, but they approach it from an angle that no one else on the planet would even think of approaching it from, and that's what makes their genius, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, it's Jim's art's kind of, the faces are kind of a little bit too stretched, you know what I mean? He's always had that kind of, there's not symmetry, but he can draw. He does his birds.
All his birds, yeah.
He loves his birds. I went round to his house one just for an evening, and he was like, we'd had a few, and he was like, right, let's play a game. And what he did was he covered up. He'd already like, here's what I made earlier. And he covered up all the names with Post-its. Went, what's that? Pick one and show it me. And I went, that. And he went, grape. And I looked over the Post-its and he went, correct. And that was his fun. That was his idea of fun.
Party piece. Yeah.
Yeah, but he knew them all. He knew them all.
Yeah.
He knew them all. And he showed me that if you pushed if you put a bass guitar without, if you haven't got an amp, if you put it against the stud wall, the end of the bass, it works as a speaker.
Resonate.
Resonate. I was like, that's impressive. That did impress me. But his house was brilliant. It was like he had it like kind of a burgundy wood panel type, Victorian thing, but sometimes inlaid into the walls were glass eyes. Yeah, it was brilliant.
So that period is with 93, 94.
Yeah.
And their pomp. I mean, you were appearing everywhere. Steve
showed behaving badly then.
Yeah, of course you were.
That was Ken in that.
Bar.
I mean, I haven't got a good lineage, really, because I was Ken in that, and Les left, and I got offered Ken, and I didn't know them. I didn't know the cast, and I remember they were absolutely lovely to me. All the Caroline, Martin, Neil, and Leslie were all took me under the wing because I was a new regular, and because it's very daunting. It's like it was the biggest sitcom in the UK, and it was very daunting. And from that experience, I've always thought when I did Cold Feet, when we had guests in, I would always make a fuss. Because I know that Helen Baxendale had a terrible time on Friends. They weren't. They was never asked, "Do you want to come for a drink or do you want to go for a bite to eat?" It was like rap gone. And she said she was just like felt really. And I thought, well, that's not right. That. So I've always made a point is if I'm in a show, a regular show, that if we have guests on, that we make a fuss. As long as they're not. I mean, if they're a night, mate, just keep well away.
Yeah.
If they're nice, just make them feel welcome, part of the family. It's all very well but you're you're on a roll and you're kind of like, you can't be giving it Johnny Big Bollocks like some Americans would, like, "Hi, welcome to my show. Welcome to my show." And it's like, well, it's not your show. It's a six-act.
Yeah, because you never know when that person's going to get their own show 5 years down the line. You're looking for work.
But it's always make people feel welcome because it's very, very, very daunting. So I did. So I did that.
Paying it forward, I suppose, isn't it, as well,
Yeah, I think I finished Men Behaving Badly.
Was that
went on Cold Feet?
So was Joe Beasley and Cheeky Monkey around that time?
Joe Beasley was knowing me, knowing you. It's the funniest thing I've ever done that.
No.
The first one, not the second one, the first one. That is, for me, the funniest thing I've ever done because we had a structure. It was ad-lib, but there had to be a structure to an A, B, and a C, But the beauty of it was, it was to go against, as a stand-up, my better judgment. So it was so brilliant to be deliberately counterintuitive to go on and die on purpose. I can understand why Andy Kaufman used to do it, though, because, I mean, that's a bit different, but...
Yeah.
So what I could see was the audience's faces, and thankfully I wasn't a name, so no one knew, oh, that's John Thomson being, so the tash and the wig and the get-up. And for all intents and purposes, I mean, a lot of people thought Alan Partridge was real. They said, well, I can't watch that show because he's too rude to the guests. And I was like, but it's not real. The people's parents said that. Well, he's just rude, terrible, treats the guests terribly. And I didn't keep quiet. I used to say, well, it's not really, there's a character. I used to go, really? That's terrible. So I just keep the myth alive. So when I did Joe, I could see the audience, and I think Peter Fincham was the producer on that, because I remember seeing him in the corridor after. I went, that's funny. I thought, oh, great. So you could see the audience look at each other and go, this, and then go, read their lips going. So the more of that I saw, the worse I got. It was just great. Like when the Velcro breaks and I try and do it and I just hold it there, and it was kind of divinely inspired, really. Just a joy. And then what Steve says to me is so cutting in its simplicity, because it's a major fail on national television live, is your act is, something, your act is really poor. That's really harsh. Anyone could say, but just the way that's said, your act is really poor. It just cuts you to the quick. It's so brilliant. And then
you just know that character.
Yeah, you can see he's a bit of a nutter underneath.
Yeah,
and it was just like, I was worried about that because, like, sometimes I used to think I looked like I was corpsing a bit, laughing, and I'm not. No, but it's interesting reading American comments. It's nice to see they go, the guy with the bent is a good actor, and I thought, oh, thanks. But I'll give credit to Armando when we finish, and I go on, if you've got some dignity, go on, off you go. If you've got any dignity, so you'll quit while you're up and leave. So I know, and then they cut to the wide, and I chucked the monkey off into the wings. That was Armando's idea, and I thought, it was great. It's a lovely finish. I won't take the credit for it. Armando went, just baz the monkey. It's his fault. That's the thing with Joe. It's always been Joe's fault. It's not Joe. The monkey's fault. It's like magic with Anthony Hopkins.
Yes. So just before the Fast Show, I guess the last thing you did with Vic and Bob was At Home with Vic and Bob, and had an evening to take over BBC Two. And between
I remember that. There was a genius bit in that where it was a Christmassy show, wasn't it?
Yeah. Boxing Day, maybe?
I remember. What did I do in that?
You're Harry Seacombe, who is hiding in the garden, and they think it's a badger or something, and they...
Right, it's coming back to me.
Seacombe.
Because I remember one of my favourite gags on this. Oh, yeah, because Alice was dead young, Jim's daughter. So first of all, there was a cutaway of the piano being played with real hands like that.
Yeah.
Then I think it was a shot of the hands were first a man's, and then it was a lady's hands, like with long nails. Then there was a shot of Alice's hands, but it was Alonkin. It was his daughter, like kids' hands. And then the next bit, pigs trotters.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's so good.
Genius.
That's my kind of comedy. It's just great. It's just classic visual comedy. Loved it.
You're Harry Seacombe, and I think you're also Bob's hairdresser.
Okay.
At one point in that as well. And John Shuttleworth, Graham Fellows is in that as well. One of his early TV appearances in that. Yeah.
I did a pilot with Graham. We did Shuttleworth Showtime at Granada. It never went, And it was a joint character. It was a kind of like a talent show. And I was so honoured because Graham rang me up and he went, "Can I ask you, John, could you play Ken?" And I went, "What? Will you do, Ken?"
Oh.
He went, "I can't do it because I've got Ken in the box and talk live to him." "Stop, John, no. Come on, it's not right." And he said, "You do the best Ken I've ever heard." So I was Ken on the pilot. And he went, I remember a brilliant bit, and I went, "John, you have to go again. You're a bit of a man." He went, "Ken." He went, "Ken, eating a biscuit?" I went, "Why? Can you tell?" I can't. What kind? Oh, it's so brilliant. But he didn't go. I remember someone singing and they dropped all rubber snakes and spiders on them and stuff. Shuttleworth Showtime.
Yeah, so because you worked again, John and Steve and Simon are all in Saturday Zoo, which is 94, again, 93.
Well, that was my greatest claims to fame because my favourite actor at the time was, well, still is, Christopher Walken, and I wasn't on the show that week. So I said, "What?" And they went, no, you know. And I went, "Well, can I write something for it?" They went, yeah. So Lisa Mayer, who wrote the young ones with the young one, Lisa, whose mum lives around the corner from me, actually. So I sometimes see her. I said, let's do Jack and Ori in a peacock chair with the kids' jumper on, but we'll do it walking style. So I did the improv going, once upon a time, there's 3 pigs, and all that kind of. So I impro'd it while Lisa, she was scribe. So we go, the first pig was no Dumpski, and it worked at absolute treat. And that was just like, I said to someone, I wrote that, and they went but I always give Lisa the credit.
I remember that.
They went to me and they went, you should retire. Yeah, retire. And I met him afterwards, but there was no mobile phones with cameras there. So I bought a 10x8 of him in the Deer Hunter, and he signed it to me. So, yeah, that's something that. But that was a mad show, that. But Bruce and Larry, we were like on standby, and they went, you got to like audition to get on the show. And we did it. It happened in Hollywood, me and Simon. And they were like, all right. And it was getting late in the day, and they went, right, get them 2 on. Yeah, like this. Anyway, we did it because Simon's a little bit scatty, to say the least. It's got worse, actually. It kind of worked because he didn't stick to the script, and we did it on a green screen thing, and they all went, oh, God, this is great. Really good. And we got quite a few Americans thanked us for it, like Carrie Fisher loved it. I'd say who really loved it was Lenny Kravitz.
I thought it was Deliverance for a minute.
Lenny Kravitz came up to me, guys, you rock. Man, you so funny. And it was just great because there was such major people on that. I met so many amazing, Danny DeVito, Carrie Fisher, Hulk Hogan, Christopher Walken. I was there. I was just like, wow, this is just great. But the show, it was all right. I tell you what, it's better than SNL.
I really loved it. I mean, Paul Carr first found fame on that as well.
Remember, my daughter quoted Peter Griffin about SNL sketches, and he went, well, women are a little bit like SNL sketches. He went, most are terrible. He went, there's a few good ones, and then now and again you find one that's just perfect. I mean, some SNL, do you know what I hate about it? The laziness of just reading it.
Yeah, reading from cue cards. Yeah.
Oh my God. I get it if the celebrity's got on Broadway and it's come, it's so bad.
But it's so blatant as well, isn't it? You can actually see the
eyes down the bottom. I like the pre-records because they've took the time to learn them. It's amateur hour. It's really, really professional. It's so bad.
Isn't it? Just do your job, learn the lines. Anyway, so we've heard from Simon and from Ulrika and Charlie and Matt Lucas about the Fast Show / Shooting Stars live shows.
Yeah,
in Hammersmith. What were your memories of those?
Amazing rock and roll.
That was huge, though. It was a huge run.
That was like, But I mean, I was quite wayward then at that stage.
Yeah,
I was like rocking and rolling off stage and all, but still doing the job. There was one time I turned up. Simon turned up. Paul went, you were in a bit of it. He goes, Simon, you're in a bit of a state. And he goes, Simon went, wait till you see John. And it was a bit like the thing with Peter O'Toole and the Duke of Monmouth comes on and he goes, someone in the audience went, he goes, you're pissed. And he goes, yes. And wait till you see this. Wait till you see the Duke of Monmouth. And he was like, they were both, Harris and O'Toole were absolutely hammered. But, God, it was brilliant doing that show. It was just proper rock and roll. But the thing is, though, Jim and Bob didn't want to rehearse their thing, and it was a bit amateur hour, some of that Shooting Stars thing, and it didn't really reflect very well on them. But what it did do for us was it made us look better because we've put the work in. We did over a week's rehearsal in a space, and we had people in the boxes. And Matt Lucas said it's the best show he's ever seen live. I remember Matt said that. I was just so proud to be part of that. It was such an amazing experience to do that. It's nice to do it in one venue, because the tour recently was one night only, and it killed me. I just living out of a suitcase, not getting to see the town I was in.
Yeah,
I'd rather do a few nights in one place and then have a day to explore, and relax, not jump on a coach and then go somewhere else. It's just that doesn't really appeal to me. But to do a 2 or 3 nighter, that's great. But to do that run, Hannah lived in London at the time. it was just such a great experience, really.
Yeah, and you were at that was a fast show, and Cold Feet sort of the same sort of time, am I right in saying?
Probably. There's a couple of tours I missed because there was, the last live show tour I didn't do because I was working. Something else. Couldn't do it. But that show, yeah, that's right up there.
Yeah. No, even seeing it as a punter, it was incredible. You know, your two favourite shows together on one stage was just...
Some of the guests they had on, there was like a green room at the back, and some of the people I'd meet, because they go slightly off piste. So I'd be like, one minute I'd be meeting David Hamilton, and the next minute it's Rusty Lee. You know, it's so funny. It was just great. But I've seen Rusty recently. It's so lovely, you know.
Oh, it's still
so lovely. She's psychic, you know.
She hasn't aged.
She's psychic.
Yes, apparently. I'm like really good. So don't have your tarot if you don't want to hear the wrong. If you don't want bad news, she's brutal.
Was she delivering with a laugh?
Definitely.
And you're talking about celebrities of the era. You're on on Shooting Stars itself, on the TV version.
Yes, I think I still the guy stepped in for someone who didn't.
Oh, did you?
I think it was Uri Geller. He didn't. Yeah. I do remember it though. I remember getting a weird, and I've still got the thing. It was a headband with a plug on it. I don't know what was the purpose of it. You know when you got a gift at the end?
Yeah.
And I found it, I was going through my stuff, and I went, I remember I got that on Shooting Stars. And it was like an Alice band with a chain and a plug on it. I was like, you know what that's for? They'll have explained on the show. But yeah, it was nice to do Shooting Stars because I've never done it. But I've got a funny feeling I was like last minute replacement for the spoon bending Uri Geller. And I can't bend spoons. But yeah, it's a good show, that. Really good. Really.
But Frank Boff apparently he was, because they spelt his name Boff on the light under.
Deliberately.
Yeah. Because he wasn't happy with that, and he said no, he spelled it wrong. Yeah, we know.
Yeah, we know. I know. But it's like that thing, you know. Jackie Wilson says,
"Oh yeah,
you're on top of the pops." They knew.
Of course,
it was like they were in on it. They said, "Put that picture up." People go, the BBC got it. But those
Kevin Rowland
don't know what's happening. So Kevin Rowland was Texas Midnight Runners. The song is called Jackie Wilson, after the soul singer Jackie Wilson says. But in the background, they had a picture of the obese Scottish darts player, Jockey Wilson. And it's like, he was on the thing where they sang about Jackie Wilson. It's genius. But the apocryphal story is that the BBC got it wrong and put a picture of Jockey instead of Jackie up. But no, they were in on it and said, here's a picture, put that up. It's just so good.
Kevin Rowland says, as if we didn't realise there was a giant photo behind us. We'd have mentioned it if it was the wrong person.
So
they still do it now. I saw them live a few weeks ago. And there's an even better picture of Jockey Wilson in a bath with a pint and his darts.
Oh, God. An image you can never unsee.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah, and you did Randall and Hopkirk, a very brief...
Look, you know what? I've never seen that.
It's an episode called Whatever Possessed You.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Never watched
it. It's a very strange place we filmed at there, because I'm into the paranormal massively. And it was an old boys' kind of home, Boreham Wood, in the middle of the forest, in the woods. Old brick thing, so that where we shot it. And we talked to the night watchman, you know, the security man. He went, "Don't like going." I said, "They won't go up to the first after this thing. The dog won't even go. The Alsatian won't even." The story's about a kid that climbed up the chimney and got stuck and burned. And anyway, we went wandering around, you know, like you do on a film set, and I just kind of like didn't like the vibe, and I just came back down. But that was a very, very, very creepy location that we filmed at. I remember it though, because that's where I met Millie Fox, and then I did Silent Witness with her last year. She was in that with her thing. But that's one. That's, you know, like normally, because I don't really watch my back catalogue. I'm not one of them people that go, oh, I should get a bag of Rebels and sit on the sofa and go
binge and box it.
Yeah.
See what can I look at. I just like when I see it. Well, my dad's my archivist. If they need anything, I'll
it's scrapbook.
Even transfer it from VHS to CD, bless it, DVD. So mum and dad are my archivists. But I'll watch it once and then I won't. I mean, Cheeky Monkey I've seen a lot because people go. I'll sometimes go on set and they'll show it a group of people on set, and I'm there. So I've seen that quite a lot. But that's one thing I've not seen. So what was it called? What Possessed You?
Whatever Possessed You.
I'll see if I can find it.
I think spoiler, I don't think you make it past the opening credits. It's like a pre-credit scene.
Oh, like his police squad.
Yeah, you get
Oh,
There's a special guest with the special guest and the
yeah,
picture of William Shatner, and he goes,
yeah.
"Joke's tight." So I've got a police squad thing.
You get seduced,
Burn
and
to
then
the sense of fire, set on fire.
you get seduced, and then burnt alive
And alive, yeah.
by some possessed chambermaid.
Yes, some succubus.
I'll say nearly all the Fast Show team are in there somewhat, apart from Caroline. Arabella did one, Simon, Mark, Paul, and Charlie. Well, Charlie did all the episodes.
Well, I think their friendship began on Knockdown Ginger, didn't it? They were on that together. My favourite ever Bob Mortimer one was, because I'm a massive Bond fan, was he came on with a piece of gaffer tape there and a vase. And they went, number 5. And he came out and he went, the eyebrow of the vase. It has to be Roger Moore. The vase? Just great. Roger's vase. But I used to do it to him. I go, Rod, now careful, Bob, don't drop my vase. And he'd go, aye, it's good, isn't it? And he'd go, it's the look. It's the look. Don't drop the vase. So, yeah. So many little things that they've done that have just made me roar, you know. But they're just such a good double act, you know. You can tell they're having a laugh. Yeah. You can tell they're having a lot. That's the thing. They're having fun, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can see that it's just like going through the motions and got a bit tired. But because they're always laughing. Some they make each other laugh as well, which is always a good thing, you know.
Yeah, they said that they never had a row in all the time of their
Really?
partnership. They've never rowed over anything. They've had disagreements, obviously, I suppose, but, you know.
Yeah, but a lot of people have said during the act, if something's not going wrong, if it's not going right, if it's not working with the audience, Bob might try and work on it and take it to heart a bit, but Jim really doesn't care as long as they're having fun. As long as he's having a laugh on that stage.
Well, you know, I heard a story about Morecambe and Wise where they do it. There's a story that goes that sometimes they would deliberately fluff it. They would do a punchline that wasn't very good twice. So they do it once and it wasn't like, Then they do it again with a different punchline that they knew wasn't quite as good, and then they'd save the third, and then just absolutely
Clever,
isn't it?
as if they'd ad-libbed it.
Yeah.
I heard another thing that you know, when I don't know if they still use it, canned laughter was always used from the Tommy Cooper show because it was the best. Yeah, that was one of the you know, the staple canned laughters they'd use.
Yeah,
Tommy's shows.
did that on a bad sitcom.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think probably the last thing you've done on TV with them was Monkey Trousers.
Yes, it is great. The show.
Yeah, that's so fantastic. That's
So brilliant. Yeah. And I love the ladder party. I thought that was a great.
Yeah.
It's just nice to do. Just love doing sketches. You know, I'd love to do another one, but there's no real demand for it. You know.
Well, I suppose people will make their own cheaply and stick it online nowadays, and so it's cheaper in a studio sketch show.
Suppose so. Yeah.
These
But
short
thing is,
TikTok videos and things, you know, just...
Yeah, I think it's easily done at home with a green screen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you do the sweary chef with Penny Lancaster. So
Just a little bit of fucking, just enough. You know, sorry, just the what? She was great, Penny. You know, she had brilliant foil. You know, played it really, really good.
yeah,
It's great to work.
she is.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, and you do a voiceover man who smokes various cigarettes to change his voice. That was it.
Yeah. I wrote that years ago.
It comes in like that. Hi, morning, all right. Give it all. Just let me have a fag like that.
In the world.
That's it.
And then that's how he does it. He smokes loads of bags. Available on video soon. Yeah, that voice. There's loads of them in America. There's not just one guy. It used to be Bill Mitchell here. Bill passed not that long ago. But the voiceover circuit was sewn up. It was Martin Jarvis. It was just about 5 of them, and they got a flat in Soho with a phone that rang for them all. And it was Robbie Box. What's his name? Mr. Ben.
Ray Brooks.
Ray Brooks.
Yeah.
Simon Cadell. Martin Jarvis.
Yeah.
Bill Mitchell. He was that voice. And also N. Rytel was part of that. N used to be on some image and owned half of Esher, apparently, 5 racehorses. But it was a closed shop. I remember a lot of them had mopeds because they could get to studios quicker through the traffic. Yeah, you got another one at 4 o'clock. If he goes. Yeah. But it's so massive, so many voices now. And some not very good either. It's hard, you know, when you don't get a job and you hear it and go, oh. Yeah. Hard, really hard. And you never find out that you've lost the job. You just hear someone else doing it. Turn on the radio, telly, and it's someone else, and you go, right, okay, just have to go. It's come.
Let that one go.
Let that one go, yeah. It's a tough world. It's brutal. Yeah, an actor's life for me. Well, are you tough enough?
Yeah.
Thick-skinned enough.
Exactly. You're like a crocodile.
So yeah, we talked briefly earlier about the Fast Show and the reunion tour. I mean, I always think of you in probably recent years more as an actor. To see you on stage doing, not as I wasn't expecting you to be funny or good, but you was a revelation. I think you enjoyed being on that stage and entertaining. Yeah.
Everyone said your energy's like, I mean, they are 10 years older than me. Like, give them that. You know what I mean? All of them. I'm the kid.
The baby.
But, yeah, I'm the baby in the group. So everyone's at least 10 years older than me. So I'm 55 now. So that you can guess, you know. But it's taught me it's a cautionary tale. In 10 years' time, I want to have the same energy, really. Yeah. Ideally, you know. So, but yeah, everyone commented and said, great, John, you know, you're alive. But I feel that, I think Paul Robertson from McIntyre went, where you want to be on the stage. And I think that's a nice thing to say because the process of touring, like I said, the hotels were nice and everything. The actual whole process of on the road, in a coach, stopping at service stations, but just like going to the venue. Like the hardest leg of the tour was, what was it? I think it was, we had to get from York to Glasgow. And we did York to Penrith. So we stopped halfway to the lakes. So York, Penrith, then Penrith, Glasgow, Penrith, and then Penrith, Oxford. And I just, at the end of that, I was like, and I still had that energy on stage, but then went to my dressing room and wept. Because it's just like, this is hard. The performing's easy. It comes naturally. But that kind of coach, service station, hotel that you just literally get your head down and get up again. You know, it was a lottery as well, because sometimes, I remember John, the tour manager, went, there are upgrades available, but they've just said we will offer upgrades, but some will have them sometimes, and some will not. And you knew when you hadn't, and you knew when you had. But yeah, I'm just hoping the next tour has like more, like 2 nights, 3 nights in a place, because I love that. When I did a theatre tour, because you're there for the week, and you do another week somewhere else. Like Malvern, it's a really lovely place, you know, and you can go and see museums and embrace the history and culture of the place, you know, get to know it a bit, you know, do a bit
of... Like doing panto, I suppose, if you're based in one theatre, you know.
It is, but the only thing about panto is you are married to that panto because it's twice daily. It's every day, twice daily, and then Monday's off. And then like, I turned it down this year, regretfully, actually, because I didn't know carpet right when I did, so administration. But it was Tunbridge Wells, and I live in Manchester, and like, literally, you come home Christmas Day, you have your dinner, and you're off to go and do Boxing Day matinee. And it's, you know, murder. I think if I was a panto producer, I would scrub the matinee on a Boxing Day, just to be fair to the...
It's a lot of work, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, if you come to Malvern, just give me some more doorstep.
Is it? Nice place.
He's got a spare room.
Yeah. I did a bit of antiques. No one did I do. Bargain hunt there in Malvern with my daughter.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, John, this has been amazing. Thanks for joining. It's been quite a boast.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much, John.
Thanks for all. Obviously, the work you've done with Jim and Bob, but everything you've done throughout.
Well, let's hope
30-odd years.
I shall try and remain funny.
That's all we can ask.
Yes. Okay.
Thanks so much, John.
I'm going to start a campaign to get Carpet Right back up and running.
I'd be very grateful if you did.
We'll start a petition.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you all for listening to this edition of Quite a Boast. Special thanks to Matt Lucas for permission to use the Peanuts music as our theme tune, and thanks to Ed Lewis for this edit. Thank you to Jake Chesham for permission to use the photo from his 1995 shoot of Jim and Bob in our various online locations for the podcast. And of course, thank you very much to Jim Moyer and Bob Mortimer, without whom this podcast, well, it just wouldn't exist, would it? Remember to check out Paula's Divine Comedians podcast as well, and to join the Reeves Mortimer Depository of Curious Stuff Facebook group. And I think you'll agree that really was a lot of fun. Goodbye.